Imagine this. You're 30,000 feet in the air somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. The cabin lights are dim, passengers are dozing, and flight attendants are quietly serving water. Everything seems normal, until the calm is shattered by the captain's trembling voice on the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. If there are any combat pilots on board, please come forward immediately. Every head turns. Confusion spreads like wildfire. And in row 10, a young woman stirs awake. No one could have guessed that her next move would change the fate of everyone on that plane. Her name was Elena Carter, 29 years old, a former Air Force fighter pilot who had left the military 2 years earlier after a mission went terribly wrong. She was traveling incognito, hair tied back, dressed in simple jeans and a hoodie, just another passenger escaping the noise of life. Nobody knew her past. Nobody knew that she once flew F-16s, surviving dogfights that pushed her to the edge of death. Elena had boarded this flight hoping for peace. She had headphones in, a half-read book on her lap, and exhaustion pulling her into dreams. But when the captain's words cut through the air, her heart jolted awake. Combat pilots. Why would a commercial jet need a combat pilot? She unbuckled her seatbelt slowly, her instincts battling with her desire to stay invisible. Memories of her last mission flashed, her squadron, the explosion, the comrade she couldn't save. She had promised herself she was done with flying, done with heroics. Yet something in the captain's urgent tone told her lives were at stake. Elena walked up the aisle, eyes followed her, whispers rising. What's going on? Is she really a pilot? She ignored them, her jaw tight. In the cockpit, the scene was worse than she imagined. The captain was pale, sweat dripping down his forehead. His co-pilot sat slumped, unconscious, his oxygen mask askew. Warning alarms screamed from the control panels. The plane had flown into a violent storm, and now a systems failure left it barely stable. The captain's voice cracked. We lost autopilot. My co-pilot's out and turbulence has damaged controls. If I collapse too, this plane will fall. Elena's training kicked in. She scanned the instruments, her fingers brushing over the controls as if reacquainting herself with an old friend. Though commercial jets weren't fighter planes, the principles of flight were etched into her bones. I can do this, she said firmly. The captain stared at her. Who are you? She met his gaze. Call sign Viper, U.S. Air Force, retired, taking the co-pilot seat. Elena gripped the yoke. The storm outside clawed at the aircraft, lightning illuminating terrified faces in the cabin. Oxygen masks dropped, passengers screamed, and the plane lurched violently. Elena's breathing steadied. She had flown through anti-aircraft fire, dodged missiles, and danced with death in the skies. Compared to that, this storm was just another enemy to outmaneuver. Left engine fluctuating, she muttered, adjusting power. Hydraulics failing, the captain warned. Then we fighted like a crippled bird, Elena said, her voice steel. She maneuvered the jet through pockets of turbulence, riding air currents like she once had in combat. Every move demanded precision. Too sharp and the plane would rip apart, too soft and they'd lose altitude. In the cabin, passengers clung to each other, unaware that the woman from row 10 was their only hope. A little girl whispered to her mother, "Is she an angel?" The mother, tears streaking her face, nodded. Hours felt like minutes. Fuel was running low, and the storm wasn't relenting. Elena's arms HDHD, her nerves burned, but she didn't falter. She spotted a faint strip of runway. Lights through the storm. The emergency landing strip of a coastal air base tower. This is Delta 473. Former USAF pilot at controls. Request emergency landing. Static crackled. Then the voice of an air traffic controller came through. Copy that, Viper. You're clear to land. We are with you. The runway rushed closer. Crosswinds slammed the aircraft, trying to shove it off course. Passengers prayed, cried, and whispered promises to God. Elena blocked it all out, her world narrowing to the yoke in her hands, the runway ahead, and the beating of her own heart. Steady, steady, she murmured. The wheels screeched against asphalt. The plane bounced once, then again before slamming down hard. Elena wrestled it, braking reverse thrust, screaming until finally, mercifully, it rolled to a stop. Silence, then an eruption of applause, sobs, and cheers. Elena removed her headset, hands trembling. The captain looked at her, tears in his eyes. You just saved 300 souls. But Elena only shook her head. No, they saved me. For years, she had carried guilt, believing she wasn't worthy of life after the comrades she'd lost. But in that cockpit, fighting to keep strangers alive, she had found her purpose again. When she stepped out into the cabin, passengers rose to their feet, clapping, crying, reaching to touch her hand. The little girl from earlier ran forward and hugged her leg. Thank you, Angel. Elena smiled through tears. For the first time in years, she felt whole. And so, a woman who wanted to disappear became a hero in the sky. Elena Carter didn't ask for recognition, medals, or fame. She only asked for peace. And somehow, by saving others, she found it again. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes the person you least expect carries the strength to save everyone. Row 10 will never be forgotten because that's where an angel was sleeping, waiting for the call. Clap aboard. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more powerful, cinematic stories that remind us of the hidden strength inside ordinary people.